Hello, who is at most risk of getting an entity attachment and why? Hi, my name is Natasha Bailey from Soul Mission. So this video is about who is at most risk of getting an entity attachment and why. The third group of people might surprise you, so stick around to the end to find out if you might be in one of these categories. So the first category of people who are really at risk of getting an entity attachment are people with severe addiction issues. This could be drugs, alcohol, money addictions, or sexual addictions especially when consuming drugs and alcohol. You make your auric field extremely open. And if you drink or take drugs to the point of unconsciousness, what can happen is your soul may leave your body temporarily, making you a free-for-all for any negative entities, spirits, or parasites that are around who need somebody to latch onto to feed off of. Similarly, people with sexual addictions have a tendency to pick up a lot of astral parasites and incubi or succubi from the people that they're sleeping around with, because they're not using their discernment about who they're sleeping with. And in fact, the other person's entity may attract them in. So that was the first group. The second group are people who have experienced a lot of trauma in life. This could be emotional, physical, sexual. Why? Why are they more susceptible to having entity attachments? That's because at the point of trauma, most of us have some kind of coping mechanism to deal with the awful situation that is happening to us in that moment. We check out, we dissociate. So once again, parts of our soul can split off in order for us to cope psychologically with the horror of the situation that we are going through in that traumatic situation. And once again, this makes us susceptible to entities infiltrating us. Also, because we're in a kind of shock-like state, we're in trauma, we are very likely to have the perpetrator, the person who's hurting us, is very likely for their entity to jump onto us or into our energy field and make use of our energy. And unfortunately, in black sex magic rituals, using satanic rituals, this is one of the things that they do, is to shock the person into such a traumatic state that it leaves their energy field extremely open and vulnerable to being infiltrated or possessed by an entity. So I know this is not nice stuff, but you know, we really have to start talking about some of these issues and making sure that we create more awareness around this so we can practice good discernment in terms of who we hang out with. We clean up our act if we have any addictions or problems, or we resolve any unhealed traumas that we've experienced in life. So this is why I'm doing these videos, really, is to kind of enlighten you. The third group of people. Now, you might be surprised by this third group of people, because this third group of people are extremely conscientious, loving, kind, and these are healers, other healers. I get a lot of other healers coming to me for help and assistance with this very, very problem. Why? Because nobody has taught them good boundaries or spiritual hygiene or good practice when they're working with their customers, to check them beforehand, to do a proper assessment on their customers. So what's happening is wonderful healers, Reiki healers, for example, are working with customers, and they're working very closely in their energy field. and they're making themselves extremely open and susceptible to being, to having entities or energies from the entities coming into their own field. And they haven't learned how to clear themselves properly. And the problem is with a lot of healing modalities where we are simply, for example, with Reiki, we're transmitting wonderful positive healing energy, is we're inadvertently feeding the entity in the customer, because the entity wants to receive energy from some source. It doesn't matter if it's from Reiki or if it's from the host itself. It likes it. So you're inadvertently feeding the very thing that your customer is trying to release from them. So if you're a healer and you've been feeling tired, if you have been feeling worn out, you've had some kind of medical condition, medical problem as a result of working with people, or you've had to take time out, guaranteed there is something in your energy field that really doesn't need to be there. As always, I am sending you so much love. If you like this video, please comment, share, subscribe, follow. I'm wishing you so much love. Take care for now. Bye.